Hey there, Mrs. FB again. Just going to quickly go over your scoring rubric for your Zine project. If you have not yet watched the requirements video, please go watch that first. So you will be scored in several different areas, and each area has a certain number of points. The first area is requirements. You can get from between 5 and 0 points in this section. You can get a 5 if you have all the required elements and they're in the correct order. This is important. A lot of students put things out of order and then they lose points. So it goes down as you are missing elements or having elements out of order from 5, as I said, to 0. Citations, 10 to 0 is the scoring for this section. Do you have 3 citations and are they in the correct MLA format? You start losing points if you have errors. And if you have less than the required amount of citations, of course, you are also going to lose points. Information is scored from 15 to 0. Is the information in your zine actually informative? Is it factual? Do you have well-developed paragraphs? Do you include appropriate vocabulary? Remembering that Mr. Lum and I are going to be scoring some of this, you don't want it to be too sciencey, but also remembering that your science teacher is going to score part of it. You want it to be sciencey enough, right? And do you have at least 10 or more words in your fun section? As you don't do those things as well or leave things out, you will lose points in the information section. The next section is spelling. You can get a 5 only if you have 0 spelling errors. This should be easy. Have someone help you if you aren't sure about the spelling. You can always ask me or Mr. Lum as well. Design elements. Okay, these are things that we're going to talk about a lot in class, but this is what we mean by design elements. We're talking about color, use of space, the scale of your text and your drawings and color, balance, harmony, things that sort of seem to fit together. Are your images pixely or not? If you try to blow up an image too much from an original that is not big enough, you'll get pixelation, and that does not make for good design. And is everything legible? So beginning with 15 points, is it readable? That is very important in a magazine. It must be readable. So your text cannot be too tiny. Keep that in mind. It also needs to be a font that's not too weird. Is it error-free? This is important. Is it visually interesting? And we'll talk about some ways that you can make your things more visually interesting in class. Do your pictures match the topic? Obviously, you don't want to have random pictures in there that do not match what you're going for. Is your comic strip or infographic, you only have a comic strip. Is your comic strip text readable? Is your font size and style appropriate? Is it legible? If you used pen, this is important because this happens quite a lot. Make sure it does not leak through. Okay, if you use a Sharpie on a regular piece of paper, it is going to leak through. So if you want to write in Sharpie, you need to write on a piece of paper and then cut that out and then glue it on to your other paper, because if the pen leaks through, you are going to lose a lot of points. Like you go down to 5 is where pen leaks through shows up, and you won't get a 5 if that's the only thing that you have going on, but you will definitely lose points. So instead of getting a 15, you might get a 13 or something if that was your only mistake, but you will lose points. Okay, text is left justified. This is important, and if you don't know how to do left justified text, please ask. The only things that should be center justified are headings, and even then, generally in a magazine, headings are still left justified, but that might be the only place where you could use it. Your text in paragraphs, for example, should definitely not be centered text. And then please be sure that you leave a little bit of margin on the left for stapling. We do have to staple your magazine, and it becomes a little bit challenging if you're writing right up to the margin. So maybe a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch on your pages would be helpful for you when you are doing when you're putting your text in, when you're putting your drawings in and things. Make sure that you leave a little bit of space. All right, so we will total up page 1 and page 2 and give you total points. Remember that Mr. Lum and I are grading part of this, and your science teacher is grading part of this. Your total points comes from both of those pages. If you turn it in late, we will go with the percentage that your science teacher normally gives off. So that will depend on your science teacher, but whatever that is, then you need to be paying attention to that. So you will not want to get this in late, okay? You all will have 3 days in the library, as I said in the other video. Your first day, let me just look at my calendar right here. Your first day is Monday the 7th for 1 and 3, and Tuesday the 8th for 7 and 4th periods. And then on the 14th, 1 and 3 come, and 7 and 4 come on the 15th, and everyone finishes on the 17th. 1st, 3rd, 4th, and 7th periods all finish on October 17th, 2019. Everyone will need to be ready to turn it in on that day. So we are looking forward to seeing you. If you have questions about this scoring guide or the requirements, please be sure that you let us know. Thanks.